PvP, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the YouTube channel Darth Craig. Its continuing mission to explore strange new PvP teams, to seek out new meta and new hero synergies, to carelessly go where no one has gone before. Good afternoon, my dungeon boss brethren. Guess what? It's Team Lab Thursday. Now that school is back in session, finally have a little bit of time to get back in the saddle and do a little bit of recording. So I don't have to deal with childcare for months on end. Now I got time to get back to what's really important. So we're going to fire up some more videos here for, I don't know, as long as I feel like doing it. But we're at least back for today. Probably be back for tomorrow too. And maybe something on Tuesday for you as well. We'll see how things go. But I do have the free time to do this again. So we are going to troll around in Silver League today. I don't have a counter to a specific team today, so I'm not going to say use this team to beat this team. Part of that is because new season only just started not long ago. I'm only partially way along here. So right now I'm workshopping to take on a few things that I've encountered. And so one of the things that I had been doing, we'd seen this many times over if we look at the teams we've been using. Um, this has been pretty much my universal Silver League team. So Torchy silences first, usually to silence William, and then Ekko recharges him, and then gives a crit for both Masuda and for Nitpick. Nitpick does his stun, and then he kind of just do cleanup. What I've noticed from this, though, is one, I absolutely did not like percent chances in order for winning raids. I don't like the idea of Nitpick failing to crit and then just lose because of that fact. So I don't mind percent chances of things, but I don't want the raid to hinge on that percent chance. In addition to that, what I've been seeing is I've been seeing more and more water heroes, which are going to be immune to Nitpick's crit, and ultimately reduces the effectiveness of Torchy as well. And so it's not uncommon to see William and Emily, for example, and now, or not Emily, Yasmin. And so now I'm thinking it's like maybe I got to take a different approach instead of, come up with a different team, swapping one person out and figuring out what I want to do. I'm thinking maybe we try to use a more universal team here. And the best way to counter fire heroes and water heroes at the same time, realistically, is going to be with our own water heroes. I've been very averse to using nature heroes because of folks like Ignis and Rogar coming in and just mopping the floor with people. So I'm taking a little bit different approach. I'm not going to try and end the raid before it even begins. Like this match here, you silence their first attacker and then hope to hell that Nitpick does his job and then you clean everything up afterwards. I don't want to have to rely on that. So we're going to be dumping some folks here, pretty much all of them except for Ekko. We're going to keep Ekko because Ekko is energy regeneration and he's going to pair with my newest addition, which is going to be Kelpy. I just upgraded Kelpy now. I have not used her in any official capacity since she was released many months ago. Her first ability, though, is one of those ones that has a percent chance. And that percent chance is not a stun, but it is a silence, which is just as good. Not quite as good as stun in some cases, but silence is just as good. So if she fails that, she still applies exhausted, which is great for energy deficiency on the opponent. On top of that, she is a caster. She's good against folks like Rogar, and she takes lesser damage from folks like Ignis. She is a little bit short on the HP side. That's the one drawback where I don't know how she's going to hold up long term. I'm also going to pair her with Emily. She will synergize with some of that water hero synergy. Emily for healing instead of Nub Nub. And I looked through this one very thoroughly to see which one would be better off. If our goal is to counteract fire heroes, obviously Yasmin is the way to go. And I'm sorry if I keep saying Emily. I mix up the two all the time. They both look the same. They look like Emily's and Yasmin's. So um, but as far as healing goes, Nub Nub whips out a first turn heal that does some extra heals. Yasmin has a really great first round turn too. Both of them have to sit and wait around for abilities 2 and 3. Yasmin on the bonus side has passive healing for whoever's got the lowest health, so she's healing every turn regardless, whereas Nub Nub kind of isn't, but he kind of is. Because I think he heals maybe himself or goblins, but I don't think he heals everybody. And then to round out this team, what I wanted was basically attackers, defenders, and healers. And so to round it out, I'm actually putting Balog in there. Balog is going to serve as a tank for damage mitigation, but he's also a backup for silencing, which is going to be great, assuming that we're not silenced ourselves. Now, in a match like this here that I'm going against, obviously their Balog's going to go against mine first, and Kelpy is not going to silence him. But again, I'm not trying to counter this specific team. I just want to see how this team holds up. If we get single target damage directed towards Balog, by the time the turns roll around, Yasmin should be able to heal him. I feel like it should hold up quite a bit between Ekko and everybody else. And I want to see Kelpy do her thing as well with Exhausted. I want to see how that holds up, as well as how frequently she's able to silence as well, because you don't see a lot of nature heroes out there, so I don't feel like we have to worry a lot about trying to crit against nature. And because she's fast, she's always going to go. Um, she's always going to go before William. I think she's fast. She doesn't look fast, so maybe she won't always go before William. Maybe that's the kicker here, is that she's not fast. So she may not be ultimately what I'm looking to have then. So we're just going to run through a couple of far right raids here. Like I said, I'm not trying to beat a specific team. I want to see how it holds up just against any team at this particular level here. So I'm going against lesser opponents. If it can't beat mid 70s random teams, it's probably not going to beat maxed out 6-star 80s, right? So you'll also see Kelpy starts with one stack of her foresight too. That'll be great for things like Balog, provided that somebody else isn't doing something first. Ignis is going to have a burn, for example. Any number of things could purge that, but um, unlike previous ones, we are going to charge with Ekko right away because we want Kelpy to crit. One thing I'm noticing right now, just going against Emily, is she likely cannot crit against Emily because of the shielding. Um, so let's see what it does. So like I said, exhausted and or silence. And I think we got exhausted. Yep. So they don't have any energy regeneration, but here's the downside to that. They don't start behind the 8 ball like we do, so I don't know that that's actually beneficial. So Kelpy might be way better as a PvP defender than an attacker. That might be something where we actually save that for after round 1 and do it in round 2. That way it slows down their progression. That's something that I'm going to have to actually workshop a little bit further. One of the pieces that I did not account for with this one here was obviously the shielding. We're going to be dealing with the shielding and then excessive taunting. I don't think this one can hold up long term. But we will do our own silence here. That's not going to hit. It hit one of them. No, it did hit them, even though they were shielded. But Balog's immune to silence. I guess the other ones did get silence. I thought that that would be blocked by a shield, but I'll have to look at the skill. Maybe it's not apply silence on hit, which is obviously great, but I still have to get through all that taunting and all that shielding. So Ekko's dead because basically no taunting from Balog. And then turn 2 is when I would expect to heal with Yasmin. Elemental advantage, truthfully, I don't think it matters at this point here. We need to obviously kill Emily. Otherwise, she just reses. Yep, that was not good there. Probably not worth it stealing the taunt, but I mean this raid's over with anyways, so it doesn't really matter. All right, so initial I don't know, initial thoughts are we may not have the damage mitigation to survive this one long term because we really have to survive to turn two successfully in order to properly heal with Yasmin. Healing turn one with Yasmin is just a waste of it. She's got such a long cooldown on that that it's um, not very beneficial. With Ekko dying, Ekko puts out decent damage in Silver League, so having him die here is basically the same team. I do think without getting a silence off, now this one should be a little bit more likely to hit because um, at least Kelpy's going to go before William. I think she did last time too, but he still bubbled. I think he just got exhausted last time. So without knowing the exact crit numbers, not much we can do there. So I think relying on that silence may be just as damning as relying on nitpick to crit. So that one hit twice, smoked um, Rogar, but he's ultimately very, very under level. Again, like I don't want to waste. I don't want to waste my heal on this turn because what am I going to do? I'm going to give a little bit of health back to three people, and I don't think that's worth it. Um, Better option is to just try and kill some people. At the very least, Emily's cooldown is up now. I thought she was silenced, but I misread that. She was just exhausted. Okay, silence on all. So attack on all, and then silence on hit. So it is silence on hit. I'm not sure what happened on the last one. And I think ultimately Emily came with her purging strike, or even just that. Yeah, so it's gone already. So without taunting, this team is just very, very squishy. And I also don't have AoEs now either. I need that to be able to sort through this. Because now I can't even attack Emily when I'm getting through it. But again, these are lower level opponents. You can't take this at face value. So while this was a win, let's write that off as plausible and not you know likely. Not likely is what we're gonna say. I'd like to get a team that's higher level. Same basic thing here. Well, this would be a good example of William going first, so critting against them is not going to be an option. So that ultimately brings up the option like, what do we do on this first turn here? Do we even use Kelpy's first ability? I would generally not want to. Like something like this where William's going to be going before everybody. I would usually want someone like Masuda who can purge all levels of those shields there. In this case here, there's really nothing we can do. It's a single attack, so we can only remove one layer. And it did still do a silence and an exhausted, so we'll have to look into that a little bit because a lot of these things, when they happen on hit, they don't hit through shields. I'm not sure what I'm missing there, but I'll take the silence on nitpick. But again, without being able to actually go through and damage them, we're in a world of hurt. They shouldn't be able to purge my. Oh, never mind. I can't taunt because I'm stunned. It's always something, right? So if I wouldn't have been stunned, we'd have had a nice taunt in there for once in our matches here. Now, realistically, I should win this because they are such low level compared to me. But you know, strange things have happened. But still stunned. Probably going to be stunned again, but Yeah, he's still stunned. Do we have any buffs on any of them? Yeah, we could steal the buff from Nitpick. Didn't really do anything, I guess. Okay, again, that one was plausible for sure because we wouldn't have lost taunt on Balog, and then at that point we could heal with Yasmin and actually do healer plus tank combo that I wanted to see. So I'm not getting any tougher teams, unfortunately. We'll see how this one goes, and then maybe we'll do one more after this, and then if you have a Kelpy team that you use, be glad to hear it. I might try to think of something that has a force taunt in there, like um, Spitfire, but at the same time, I just don't know. Dealing with that shielding is ultimately tough sledding. So we need to be able to account for multiple layers of shielding, and that's tough to do without someone like Masuda or open level silence um, like Torchy. So while the goal is to get away from Torchy and Masuda, um, it might ultimately be pseudo inevitable. I already have element. Well, I don't have elemental advantage, but one of the things to note is Kelpy's middle skill is it's a high power hitter. So you saw how much damage it did to William. It actually is a great it's a great skill. Okay. With two of them dead, Emily can res one, but you know, I have them on this one because they're so low level. So yeah, expected that should probably bring back the healer, but again, shouldn't be an issue here. We just got to do a little bit of cleanup, and then maybe we'll get one more match. So Balog in general is pretty good. He's great to have around, especially with Ekko. They just, I don't know, they work together, constantly recharging Balog's abilities. Um, I'm thinking that in some capacity, maybe putting William in there with Balog. I know there's a lot of Balog and William teams. They're slow, in my opinion. And so without the damage, if you're running against a similar type team that constantly heals, it's tough to it's tough to optimize those raids and ultimately get in and out of the raids and progress the way that you want. If you want to do it just for the sake of being able to beat a particular team, it might be okay, but it's not one that I would want to run constantly. Like the Torchy, Ekko, Masuda, and Nitpick, I run that one almost universally as it is, regardless if I'm going to win or lose, because I'm too lazy to swap it out, and it does win more than it loses. Whereas this one here is not going to be one that I run universally. It probably could be run universally through the first couple levels of PvP, but at the same point, if you already have one that works perfectly fine, why swap it out? And certainly, that other team isn't going to have Ekko die that fast on the opening turn. So, I'm feeling a little bit bummed out about spending my XP on Kelpy because I had come across her as PvP defender a couple of times, and it seems like it really disrupted at least the team that I'm using. Part of that is because she is water um, going against my fire, and so yeah, it naturally breaks up that team a little bit. But ultimately, her ability to exhaust is far more efficient as a defender than an attacker. So anyways, that's about it. We're gonna wrap this up in just a second. Like I said, um, if you have any Kelpy teams, I would love to hear them. We can work them into the shop here and see what they do. I have some XP potions at the standby for my monsters and reptiles. I just got to round those out. Um, so I'm looking at moving some stuff into Gold League. If you have a gold team that you would like to see or test for viability, feel free to let me know those too. Otherwise, that's about all I got for you today. So, again, it's good to be back. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching, and remember, I make YouTube videos for the American working man, because that's what I am, and that's who I care about.